Nigerians watch the head and they have a different reactions, while others are applauding Daniel Etim Effiong for a beautiful job well done. I mean, he did not just return to us as an actor, but as a director. As a matter of fact, he played two roles as the director and the lead actor in the film. Others feel like, no, especially the Fulanis, they feel insulted. Like, how dare you portray us in such a light? We are not terrible sort of people. Then you're making it look like all the crimes being perpetrated in Nigeria are carried out by us, like all the kidnapping, we are not like that. So you're promoting a particular stereotype about us, and we do not appreciate that. So a lot of Nigerians, especially the Fulanis, they're asking for the cancellation or the banning of this particular film, The Herd. Now, while the Igbos say that, oh, you guys have been watching films why they portray us as ritualists, as occultists and all, we never take offense. So why are you people angry? This is just a film, and you cannot deny the fact that Nigeria as a country is not in a very good state at the moment. There's just a whole lot of insecurities, kidnapping or what have you, and everybody is literally in a state of survival. So we're just going to leave the different thoughts on the internet. Some of the actors who played the bandits, who played the kidnappers, who belong to a particular syndicate, now they're all Fulanese. I think one of the main actors, he equally dropped a write-up. He came out on social because they were calling him out. They called him a betrayal. Like, brother, how can you partake in a film that pushes a negative propaganda against us? That makes us look like we are bad people. Like the Fulani headsmen are terrible. Like we're fond of kidnapping people. We butcher and slaughter people. That is not who we are. Now, he said in his write-up that he's not to be blamed. Now, he went through the entire script, and if he had noticed any foul play in the role, or in the script, he wouldn't have taken it. This is film, and it's telling the Nigerian story. And this is what is actually happening. It doesn't mean that every crime committed in Nigeria, especially in Ikiti State, is being perpetrated or carried out by the Fulani. So you guys just have to calm down. I want to hear your thoughts. Do you equally feel the same way, the Fulanis? Do you take offense to this particular film, The Head, or not? Now, this film, it's not just centered on the Fulanis. The Igbos are equally being portrayed here. You're going to find even the Hausas, the Yorubas. It's a mixture. It's showing the different tribes in Nigeria and all whatnot. Anyways, guys, now away from the controversies around this film, let's talk about the film real quick. Now, first, I'm going to give a shout out to the director, Daniel Etim Effiong, for this milestone. Beautiful work, I must say. I love the cinematography, especially the sound, the scoring, amazing. Now, night scenes are actually night scenes, just the lighting, the way it was being portrayed, beautiful, well executed. However, I have a lot of issues with the film. There's just a whole lot of cliffhangers, and this has always been my problem with most Nollywood directors. Beautiful concepts, but their finishing are always terrible. That they're going to leave you in so much suspense. They don't know how to finish their films in terms of the ending. The ending is not always the best. Of recent, I equally watched The Devil is a Liar, and I was like, are you kidding me? So we spend this number of hours, it's like 2 hours, 30 minutes long. So we spend this number of hours watching this only for us to arrive at this particular ending. That is a no. It was totally disappointing. And it's the same thing with this film. Now, there is this popular Nigerian influencer, or a critic. I think his name is Daniel Reagan, and he rated this film. He rated this film a 2 on 10. And I do agree with his, with the different points that he mentions. And honestly, there was just a whole lot that this young man would have done. I don't know if they were in his, but like I said, a lot of cliffhangers. Now, what do I mean? If you've watched The Head, then you are definitely going to relate. If you haven't, go check it out. So, real quick, let me just brush through the plot, right? So, there's this couple, they got married, there's Fola and there's Darren, right? So I think Darren is played by Genoveva Umeh. Yeah, shout out to her. Oh my goodness, she executed every expression as a grieving wife, the grieving bride who is angry, who is just speechless. Like she brought out all the emotions. Her performance was amazing, and shout out to her mother, Mercy Igbe, in the film. Ooh, my goodness, I'm always flabbergasted each time I watch her. Like I just got through it all. I'm like, wow, she gives you what you want to see. That mother who is so scared, who is worried about the daughter's whereabouts and the daughter's safety. Imagine your daughter being kidnapped and are demanding, for example, 50 million naira, and you're like, the money is not the problem. My daughter's safety, however, is the problem. Is my daughter okay? And then you're talking with police officers who are proven to be so incompetent, and you're so pissed. She gave me all of that. Amazing. And then of course, Gosi's Kosi's parents, now they are the Igbos, and you know how they are. They're very strict. They are traditionalists. As in the Igbos, they have a culture. Sometimes they love marrying within their tribe, right? Now, Gosi, yes, Gosi. Gosi married an Osu. And I think Osu means outcast. And to them, this is a taboo. So they were never in approval, that they did not accept the bride. Like, we don't want you to marry this woman. Unfortunately, you know how young men will be. They're like, Papa, this is what I love. You say. Now you get to see the Igbos. They're so focused when it comes to the tradition. Now they tell the daughter-in-law, we are going to support you. We're going to grant that money. But you're not going to stay in this marriage. We've never given an approval. We've never wanted you in this family. We do not accept you in this family. So you're going to sign an undertaking where you will state that you are officially divorced to our son. That's the only way we're going to provide a 50 million ransom that they kidnap us asking. Now, again, I'm sure you're like, what's she talking about? Now, this is a plot. Okay, so there is Fola and there is Deri. Now, these two, they just got married. People are dancing. There's just a whole lot of celebration in the church. Now, they got tired of taking pictures. Everybody wants to, all the mother-in-laws, all the invitees, the mother, especially mother of the bride, and then the mother of the groom, they want people to take pictures with their children. So they got exhausted and they're tired. Now, they tell their best friends to just take them to the hotel room because, come on, they're exhausted already. Now, on their way to the hotel room, they get into traffic. Now, ahead of them, there's this Fulani headsmen with their calves, the calves and all, they're blocking the road, I think, for grazing and all. And they're like, "Well, come on, can we just beat this traffic? We want to go home." Meanwhile, Gosi, who is the best friend, the wife is battling with cancer. Now, this is not the first time. She beat it the first time, but it has come back, it resurfaced and all. So she's thinking of not going in for chemotherapy and all. She just want to end it all and all, but the husband says, just wait for me to come back, right? So already the young man is already, first of all, stressed and all. But now, back to their reality, isn't it? So there's this traffic. The Fulani, everybody is waiting for the cows to leave the road. They were grazing and all. And then all of a sudden, you're shocked when these Fulanis, they take off their veil and they're pointing guns and they're shooting in the air. And they're asking everybody to step down from their cars. Now, there is a lot of panic. You see, people are scared. Now, Kosi opens the door and he tells his friend, you have to run for your life. You have to run. So he runs, right? Now, while Fola, who is the groom, while he was in an attempt to run, he was shot at the back. He died instantly. Now, the wife comes out. The wife is crying. Every other person just stepped down from their cars. They're all on the floor. They took all their valuables. I think Fola was the only person who was killed at the spot. Meanwhile, Kosi is in the bush. He's running for his life, but unfortunately, he would have succeeded if the wife didn't call. So the wife called, like, honey, where are you coming? The kids want to talk to you. And unfortunately for the young man, his phone was on ringtone, and so the phone rings, and that's how he was discovered, not abducted. He was discovered at that point. Now they took him to where the others were in, and they asked him to carry the dead body of Fola, the friend. So they carried him into the bush. Now the bride is confused. I just got married a few minutes ago or a few hours ago. My husband and I were preparing for a lifetime together. We love each other so very much. There's just a whole lot we want to do. We have so many plans. And within a twinkle of an eye, life was literally snuffed out of him. Like, what am I going to do? So she's confused. Like I said, I love her expression. My goodness me. I've never watched a film. This is my very first time watching a film where she's casted in Genoveva, and I'm so very much impressed with it. So they drag them to the bush or to the forest, and then they take them to their hideout, and they're being locked up. Now, something happened. Gosi was asked to literally butcher the friend. So now, this syndicate, they are not just kidnappers. They equally they are human traffickers. They sell body parts. Now, who do they sell these body parts to? According to the film, it's being sold to pastors. And the pastors in this film are the Yorubas. And the main pastor is Latif. I don't know, every film Latif has a feature in it. Why? Anyways, so Latif is the one who buys all these body parts. He's going to send I think 2 members of his congregation, they go and they do the transaction and all, and they pay money, they take it there, right? Now, there is a lead. There's something that's going to help them out in the film. A wristwatch. Now, Fola was wearing an Apple wristwatch. And in the case of them, going through the different body parts, checking if all the parts that they need are in good shape or in good health, he saw the wristwatch and he stole it. He put it in his pocket, right? That is what is going to help the police in their investigation later on in the film, right? After butchering, Fola and all, the wife is devastated. Now, my husband was not just shot, now he's been slaughtered. He's been butchered and his body is being divided. How did I get here? Now she's in a wedding dress, she's crying and all. So they take the rest of them to, they hide out and they lock them up in this cage. Okay. So now they're discussing, what do we do with them? One of them is so eager. Let us just take them out. We don't need all of them here. Another one said, no, we can make so much money from them. How about we demand a ransom? They have families. Let's come up with an amount, a fixed figure. And that's how they all decided to ask for 50 million from each and every one of them, you see, for their release and all. Okay. So that is the whole plot. You're gonna find a lot of survival in it. Like some of them will plot, like they'll try to run away and they'll get killed in the process. And then we're gonna see how police officers will come into play. Now, the main police officer, his wife just gave birth. She's in the hospital alone with a child. But now he has to, between work and his family, you see the stress that they go through and all. You see how he's able to maneuver the situation. However, like I said, it has a whole lot of cliffhangers. Now, what do I mean? Now, in this film, like I said, the buyer of the body parts is the pastor, who is played by Latif, right? Now, when the kidnappers started calling their individual families for ransom, right? They finally reached to Fola, and so Fola parents were waiting. Every other person had received the phone call, but except them. So why is my son? Why, if my son is alive, they would have called me. They have called our daughter-in-law. Why are they not calling us? What has happened to our son? So the mother is worried. Now the police open an investigation, you see. So you remember the wristwatch I told you about, that one of the buyers, the body parts, were the traffickers, the person who bought the wristwatch, it was finally switched on. So they got the notification. For last brother who is in the US, he was notified that the wristwatch has been switched on. It's a smartwatch, Apple, you see. So the parents come to the police station and they tell the police officer, we have a lead though. My son called and told us that the wristwatch has been turned on. So let us trace it, right? And that's how they traced it to this particular church where Latif is preaching to his congregation and all, and they had to halt the whole process. Now they tell them their mission, right? And in the course of investigating, they discovered the wristwatch on one of the Christians' hands. How are you not able to tell? Are you kidding me? You're like, the proof is just right there in front of you, right? But they had to, and the police officer looked at them like, nice watch you have there. Really? If you're tracking the wristwatch on Apple, then when the Apple took, the signal took you to that church, how are you not able to identify that that is the wristwatch right there? That is the watch that brought us here. Are you serious? Now, they say, oh, we are here for this and that. And they carry the pastor. You have to show us, take us around, show us your premises. And then the pastor now takes them to, they had to look around and they discovered now this warehouse where they're actually, and they discovered this warehouse with a lot of fridges. That these are where the different human parts are being stored in. You see, and they're like, you are under arrest. Now they take them to the police for further investigation and questioning. And they gave them a lead that, oh, we bought it from this particular place. The film is just crazy, honey. If I have to explain it, I don't know. Like this, there's just see, I am not happy as far as this film is concerned. If I were to rate it, I'm going to give it a 3 or 10. The 3 is just for the cinematography, amazing. The scoring, I love it. But there's just a lot to be desired. You see, you left a lot of things unfinished. You see, you were probably rushing. However, I'll equally give it a 3 because aside from the cinematography, I enjoyed their performances. They did great. The actors brought in their A game. I was very much impressed. I discovered people I've never seen before. And then I saw Latif in a different role, as a pastor, as a man of God. That was so refreshing. I love it. However, as far as the storytelling is concerned, I am not impressed. A lot of suspense here. You didn't finish. Then the finishing too was a total no-no. Adama, who is the wife of Gosi, had signed the divorce papers, So why? And then she ends up telling her husband, I'm going to go for that chemotherapy. Now, she never told her husband, we are no longer married, we're no longer couples, So there's just a whole lot to be desired. So I feel like Nollywood directors are always in his, it's not just about gathering people and shooting. You have to, your story must have a proper finishing. We are not saying that it always has to be a happy ever after finishing, but do a proper finishing. Take your time. Are you getting me? Anyways, guys, this is my take as far as the film is concerned. And then I'll equally talk about it equally shows you police incompetence, you see. Like most of these uniform people, they don't really do their work judiciously. Now, if you watch the film, a lot of people were kidnapped, right? They were abducted. But after Gosi and Derin, that's the driver, the best friend and the bride, after they were discovered, right? Then nobody cared about the others. They forgot about them. So it's like it's only the rich that survives in this society of ours. It's only because they were the ones who were able to provide the 50 million. So the others who could not, they forgot about them. Like what happened to the rest of the victims? And then there was one of them who got lost in between. She kept on running and running because she was the only one who managed to escape, right? When they were held captive. Now they just showed her running and running. They never showed us the ending. Like, was she finally caught? Was she apprehended? Or did she make it safely? It's just the go round and round and round and round and round and round. I was so pissed at the end of the day. Like, anyways, guys, let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Like I said, my rating 3 on 10. There was no proper finishing, a lot of suspense, like what's happening? What happened to the pastor now? What happened to the rest of the victims? Were they killed? And then these people that adopted the kidnappers, they actually betrayed their master. They even killed him in the process, right? And so the others had to come back for revenge, and then they captured them. Now they definitely killed them. Like there's just a lot of let me happen. Kilo shele. Let me speak like you Nigerians. It's just, anyways. This is my thoughts as far as this film was concerned. Let me hear yours in the comment section. I am Chema Ayomide Dalin. Bye. Die, make him no confuse me so yeah. I never know what to happen. For before go back up, you don't go. Take your time. Don't stop rushing. I'm not impressed.